of Sarah and Becky, and we're going to be talking about rural touring schemes and how they use village halls for Village Halls Week, and a little bit about the rural touring sector. So, Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sarah Peterkin, and I run the Rural Touring Scheme in Somerset, and we've been going since 1987, and I've been in this role since 1991, so very, very long time. So it's obviously a fantastic job, or I wouldn't still be here. So, yeah.
And that's Take Art.
That's Take Art, yeah. Take Art's Somerset Rural Touring Scheme. We're an arts development agency, so we do lots of different things, but the Rural Touring Scheme is kind of the original thing that we were set up to do, and it's still, although it's shrunk in size, it's still the sort of flagship of what Take Art does.
Brilliant. Becky.
Hello, I'm Becky Varndale and I'm from Artsreach, which is Dorset's rural touring arts charity just over the border from Somerset. And we've been going for 29 years now, so next year's our big 30th birthday. And I've been in the role as the Marketing and Development Officer for about a year and a half coming up. Okay. So yeah, getting my teeth into it and finding out where all the village halls in Dorset are and meeting all the lovely promoters. And yeah, it's just been wonderful.
Cool. Sarah, how many shows a year do you guys programme, and what sort of venues and shows do you programme?
Oh, okay. So we, at the moment, we're programming about 60 to 65 shows a year, generally between October and March, but there are a few in April, May and June, and the odd one in September as well. But just because really the summer months are when village hall promoters are generally out in the garden and doing other things, fetes and whatever, so it's a quieter time in Somerset. We used to be a lot bigger as a scheme. We used to do about 120 shows, but local authority funding cuts has reduced us. So we're now pretty stable at about 60, 65 a year. And the sort of shows we do are a complete range of theatre, dance, music, poetry, stand-up comedy, children's shows, the whole range. And the sort of venues are, well, they're community spaces, but they're generally village halls, sometimes churches, sometimes they're called the community centre, but they're essentially the heart of a village where people live and come together socially. And we've just started doing a few shows in pubs as well, which, well, we've been doing on and off for a few years, but through the In Crowd project, which our colleagues run in Kent, we've really it's really taken off this season. We've got so many different pubs and landlords who are just champing at the bit to have more performance poetry. It's great.
Oh, brilliant. That sounds really good. Becky, yeah. Tell us about your scheme and how many shows, but also about what a scheme is and how menus work for artists.
Yes, so artists can apply throughout the year to be part of the menu, which we launch in May every year, and we get all the promoters together at a menu party. We've got about 60 village halls now in Dorset, so quite a lot. And all of the promoters choose from the menu and decide what they like and what they think would work in their village. And then sort of between us and them, it's quite a complicated process of trying to find out when the village hall's free, when the band's free, and programming it all really. And we have about 170 shows a year, so quite a large programme. So it's really good that we're still sort of going strong. So, yeah.
Gosh, so they must be very big menu parties, and if you've got 170 shows, but how many venues roughly? How many people?
Yeah, about 60 venues. So yeah, we've got three programmes a year, from October to December, January to March, and then we have a smaller one in the summer that's usually things like outdoor theatre, couple opera, circus events, things like that. So yeah, no, it's really diverse.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
it's interesting, Holly, that although I know you've spoken to schemes all over the country, and although Becky's just over the border for us in Dorset, and we work together a lot, that all the schemes have so much in common.
Yeah.
You know, we're all independent, we're all completely different organisations with different boards, or some of us may be run by local authorities, but we all have such a similar way of working. And these menu parties, which I call my annual promoters launch, in annual promoters meeting to launch the menu, they're so key, and they're so vibrant, and they're so busy when all the promoters get together. It's a really rewarding evening, actually. I expect you have to have more than one menu party, do you, Becky?
We do, yeah. We usually have two on the same day, so one in the afternoon and one in the evening. And it's a lovely way to meet everyone and keep everyone updated as to what's going on in the office. And yeah, it's just a nice chance for everyone to get together really and share tips, and nice rural touring family.
And how do you find your artists? What tips would you give if someone hadn't done rural touring yet, but quite wanted to get into the sector? What would you say to Sarah? What would you say to an artist who was involved?
It is tough, actually. It is tough. I do sort of have sympathy, because there are so many brilliant companies, and as schemes, we're really aware that we don't want to all have the same program, because we want to give artists, a really good shout at being involved, because it's such an amazing network and process. But it is quite hard, because you obviously want to offer the best quality shows that you can. So if you can't get to see the work either at the NRTF conference or at Edinburgh Festival or Brighton, or I've been lucky enough to go to Canada to various showcases over there. If you can't actually see the work yourself, you need to rely on your peers who are doing similar work to recommend shows. So it's very important for us to we have a regional get together next week, actually, where we come together and we share programming ideas, and we sort of talk about what's gone well and maybe what hasn't gone quite so well. But so the tip about how to get onto a scheme is really to keep sending the information. Please forgive us if we don't get back and reply to everybody. I don't know about Becky, but we're inundated with people who want to come to Somerset. We can only choose about 20, 25 companies a year. I think Becky chooses a few more. But so that's a very small, out of the hundreds of people that write to us. But we do look at all the stuff that gets sent to us and try and work out, it's a balance that we need to offer. So we draw up a long list and then a short list. But I think just trying to have a conversation with us, maybe if we can't get to see your work, maybe if you can tell us that another scheme's been to see it, that helps. References, all that stuff. Good publicity.
Yeah.
It is hard, though.
Yeah, it is. Becky, does that resonate with you, and advice that you'd give to artists?
Very much so, yeah. It's just so hard to get through all of the applications. But I think basically to reinstate what Sarah said, it's Kerry, our programmer, she does look through everything. But it's just making sure that there's a balance in the programme, and there's a real diverse range of types of shows that we offer to people. So it's we've only got a certain amount of space, so it's just making sure that there is that varied programme, really.
Yeah. So it is a competitive sector to get into, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But very rewarding once you do get on a tour. Can you tell us some highlights or some magical moments that you can remember, either working with performers or in a hall or something like that? What's the motivation for you guys?
Well, I think probably, I don't know, Becky, did you want to go first? I'm jumping in.
No, carry on.
Oh, well, Well, probably a shared memory with Becky, actually, is something amazing that happened just last night. We had a tour of a Belgian band, a Flemish band called Were, and they did 2 nights in Somerset and 2 nights in Dorset just this last week. But they were with us yesterday in a small hall, and it was completely packed to the rafters. Standing ovation, absolutely magic night of these extraordinary musicians who have come over just for this short tour, and we just felt so privileged to be there. And that sort of that feeling when the audience are completely with it, and they're just, you know, the standing ovation moment and everything is just wonderful. Yeah.
You were there, were you?
I was. Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah.
How about Becky? Were you there as well?
Sadly not. No, I wasn't, unfortunately. I've just come back from holiday, actually, so it's really bad timing. I really wanted to see them, but yeah, I think it's just amazing to be able to get a band of that caliber over here just for a few days. And you know, it's really important to be able to work with our neighbours and make sure that we can put these acts on together. Yeah, really magical.
The working, yeah, Becky's quite right there. The working together made it possible for them to come. You know, they couldn't have come just for one night, and I couldn't have afforded 4 nights on my own. So to be able to work with Artsreach and Dorset meant we could offer them, you know, a 4-night run. They left my house at 2:30 this morning. They had 2 hours sleep, and then they got up to drive back to Dover because they're working today back in Brussels.
Oh, crikey. Very dedicated.
Becky, you're relatively new to the sector in that case.
Yeah.
You've been here a year and a half. You're a little bit less new than I am at the moment. But what is it that you love about rural touring?
One of the main things I love about it is just seeing the promoters really come into their own and help enrich the community, really, working together. They're very passionate about the shows they put on and putting up artists in their home and feeding them, and yeah, it's just lovely to see it all happen and see a community come alive, and to sort of experience such high quality arts just in their village, you know, whereas usually they have to travel to a town or a city to see that kind of quality. So it's really lovely, yeah, to see their hard work.
The most common thing you hear sort of in the interval or after a show is, "I can't believe this is here in our small village."
Yeah. How wonderful. That's
the sort of most frequent comment that I hear from the audience.
Yeah. How wonderful is that? That's great. And what a brilliant note to end on as well. So thank you both very much for joining us today. It's been really interesting to hear about your rural touring schemes, and I'm sure I will be in touch with you soon. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
See you soon.
Bye.